So, what do you think of George Harrison's guitar playing?
Amazing. George Harrison's guitar playing is always has melody, always showing the chord progression of a song. So, some people think George Harrison is not great as songwriter as, Paul McCartney. So sometimes people compare these things. Right? George Harrison's amazing. If you listen something from Abbey Road, da, 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 that's just one phrase like that, and then the melody is so huge to me.
Youngsters from Liverpool, England. The Beatles have held this title for 8 years. My model of business is the Beatles. Look, they were four very talented guys.
Welcome back to the Here, There, and Everywhere podcast. I'm your host, Jack Lawless. Tomo Fujita is a professional guitarist and an esteemed professor at Berklee College of Music. He's played with legendary musicians such as Steve Jordan, Susan Tedeschi, Phil Collins, and Steve Gadd. As a professor, he's taught students who later became guitar legends in their own right, such as Eric Krasno, Adam Smirnoff, and John Mayer. Tomo's interest in music actually started when he was a kid, when he heard his first Beatles song. And ever since then, he's been endlessly fascinated by George Harrison's guitar playing and the way that the Beatles fit so much musical sophistication into relatively short songs. So here today to discuss that fascination and everything else about the Beatles, it's my pleasure to introduce the great Tomo Fujita. Hey Tomo, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. How are you doing today?
How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's an honor to have you on.
All right.
And I heard that you're a huge Beatles fan.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Tomo, can you start us off by telling us about how you grew up and what kind of music you listened to as a kid?
Sure. Yeah. When I was 10, I had a friend has an older brother and start listening music. That's how I connect with listening music. But beforehand, I played a little bit of instrument at the elementary school, as an education. But that was the first time ever really listening, tuned in, songs. And so his brother started collecting Beatles records, and me and my friends we were listening FM and tuning into Beatles radio station. And we had a cassette tape. We record a cassette tape and write it all the notes, name of the songs and stuff. So that's how I grew up actually, beginning.
Oh, wow. And what were your thoughts when you first heard the Beatles?
Well, funny part is I only listened like a few like Japanese pop music, but that was the only first time I ever listened real, band music. And so it just, now I think about it, the song is really short and a lot of arrangement each song. And so I really enjoy it.
And Tomo, how did you get your start in music, and when did you decide that you wanted to pursue it professionally?
But funny about beginning here, if I tell this story, it's become really long. So I make this story a little short. But I love guitar, I love music, and I didn't like anything else. So that was a very natural I wanted to do. But then I decided not to follow this career because a lot of people said this is not a great one. So I basically went to college, and at the college about a year, I didn't really pursue anything. But I kept playing. I put the band together, and I secretly I was taking guitar lesson. And so basically I was kind of not expecting, but I want to make just in case, second plan B. So I went to college, but I have a plan B. That's what happened is plan B worked. So that when decided to become professional. Yeah, but up to there, 18, I already gave up to become professional because that's tough to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't have any, confidence to do it. So I was just actually, I was very depressed when I was 18, 19 because I went to college that I don't want to do it. But I kept doing my own thing, so that's the message I want to tell a lot of people, that don't decide anything right away, but also don't decide, give up. You just keep hopes and dreams. Keep doing it, because you never know. Sometime, right place, right time. Yeah. So yeah. So that's why after that I follow completely music. Yeah.
That's incredible. And how long have you been a professor at Berklee for?
Since 1993. So I've been teaching. So next year, 2023, become 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Crazy, eh?
Congratulations on 30 years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And looking back, are you able to think of any favorite moments from your teaching career?
Yeah. I mean, many things for, concert, recording. Yeah, a few things I can say. When I made an album, Pure, and I hire all my favorite players, Will Lee on bass, Steve Gadd, Bernard Party, who plays with the Beatles, right? Bernard Party and Steve Jordan. That was great recording. Also, years back when I was, working a lot of different gigs, and I was in Japan, Lenny Pickett from Saturday Night Live, they called my house. So I was chosen for the audition, guitar player audition. So they picked 10 guitar players. I was on top 10. I didn't get the gig just because they were looking for younger people. But still, that was a really great moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then one more. I taught so many people, and several players become really well known, did a great job. Like Michael Lemo, he's a guitar player who works at the Gnome's rare guitar now. He's doing great. He has records out. And Eric Krasno from Soul Live, Letters and all that, and he's doing great. And of course, John Mayer, he's one of my students that made it really big. So that's really a great feeling after I taught so many people, helped people, and then somebody made it that way. Yeah, but also, of course, somebody didn't make a name in public, but still doing great. Internet, teaching people and different type of business. So yeah, so a lot of things.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you're listening back to the records of your students that made it big, do you
Yes.
ever hear snippets or instances of
Yes.
your influence or things that you've taught them in their playing?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like for example, Eric Klasno, I taught a lot. Funk rhythm guitar and some of the jazz stuff. But John Mayer, I taught him how to play really clean, use dynamics, and so that guitar technique foundation that a lot of people cannot learn from YouTube or anything like that. And I taught him sort of details, so he carried on. Now when he plays it, I can really hear everything I taught. It's almost like I teach everybody same way, but not necessarily everybody really worked on each topic, right? But he really smart that he didn't forget about those topics are very important, because foundation technique, that's really helps performance. But most people want to practice tunes, want to practice performance, and it's fun and easy, but not going anywhere, because you're not really, not you, but working on the details. Almost like somebody want to build a house so quickly and sell. What's gonna happen? Some problems, occur, right? Yeah. Same thing, the music and instrument. A lot of details that you don't really see, but those are really, really important. That's what I do good.
Right.
Details.
Building your skills from the ground up.
Yeah, ground up. A lot of people never ever notice that detail because you don't see if you just play music. But if you play more and more, you feel, oh, why it's not something smooth? Yeah, just because one bolt and something not really tight, and you just keep building on top. So of course, structure is really suffer. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I like. Great moment, like make people happy, and years later, somebody making that direction really well. Yeah.
So, who are some of your favorite guitar players, and who are the ones that inspired you?
Sure, yeah. Japanese artist named Cha, CHAR, and he definitely inspired me to play kind of funky and rock stuff. And then after that, Larry Carlton, who was LA studio session players who become really well known. And he taught me versatile style of jazz, funk, and blues and everything. So after that, I discovered B.B. King as a blues guitar player and Joe Pass, jazz guitar player. And those I kind of figuring out. And then I felt Larry Carlton has soulful um, part coming from like Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway. So that's where I went to dig in more 60s, 70s old soul music, and which I can tell Beatles has so much influence from that. Yeah, I talked to you later about where they influenced by, then why they made original music. Make sense. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so you see, Larry Carlton opened the door about several different type of music. So instead of pursue like copying Larry Carlton, I did that a few years, but then I quit copying Larry Carlton because if I do, I become second Larry Carlton that we don't need. So I study how he learned from styles, and that's I studied. Then I made my original music. Same way. I mean, Beatles, they are in England. So when they receive records from America, a little different from people buy records in America because that's a little too easy. But having records coming from America to Europe, and you have records, and not so many people own the records. So, 4 or 5 guys get together, listen to the records religiously. Then when you hear soulful singing of Sam Cooke or groove of Junior Well, a lot of different things like music, right? So Junior Walker, yeah. So Junior Walker, Shotgun. That's really to me influenced Taxman. Or I saw her standing there, that kind of R&B groove. But Beatles being in England, and probably they are very, like naive and very humble, that they felt, oh, I want to copy American blues and R&B, but they are so good, I can beat with them. So why don't we play original music?
Right. Yeah.
That's what I want to take about their way of making original music, just because they just want to play blues and R&B just like American music. But if you do, they become just one of them, nothing special.
Yeah, that's really interesting now that you bring that up.
Yeah, just because I hear Beatles as Beatles, right, when I was a kid. Then I came to America. I study all the music, because to make new music good, you have to know all the music, just like a foundation thing. And when you copy these music, you can play exactly. Then you become second copy, right? So you have to make original. To make original, you can play exactly. That's why that limitation make original music. But then nowadays pop is different, because pop, they have to use exactly what's popular, because that's hits. But then only hits month or 2 month or 3 month, and then you have to make a new one again. So like new music can never become timeless music, because they were just using repeating parts of a popular music to gain popularity.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So again, music business popularity, which is good, but then sometimes it's not artistic.
So, what do you think of George Harrison's guitar playing?
Amazing. See that George Harrison's guitar playing is always has melody, always has showing the chord progression of a song. Somebody like who can play pentatonic or any scale really fast, then they just run scale over the chord changes. So maybe impressive as a solo, but it's not memorable. Almost so George has that making melody, almost like a part of a composition. So some people think George Harrison is not great as songwriter as Paul McCartney. So sometimes people compare these things, right? But that's only how many compositions he had, how many compositions Paul had. But that's only the amount, quantity. But quality of songwriting to me, George Harrison's amazing. If you listen something, from Abbey Road, da, 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 that's just one phrase like that, and then go to the song. And the melody is so huge to me. And also tone of a sound. You see the guitar tone, you could have, little bit thin sound from Fender or a little bit bigger sounds from a Gibson. He has always a unique sound. I cannot really tell. It's like a little bit big, little bit something different. But also it's not so much he's using delay or reverb. Always kind of dry. I like that.
Yeah, that's a really good point because I can't think of a time where George ever goes overboard with a solo.
Exactly. Like my favorite solo, like Let It Be, Let It Be, like that's like almost a sort of a more like a melody. In a way, now I am making new music more like little bit J-pop and a little bit more program music because I want to challenge program music with I have a great arranger and so my music is all 2 minutes and a half, 3 minutes, just like a Beatles, right? So the solo section, very, very short. So difference is, sounds like I'm improvising, but everything I compose now. Just because my music don't have lyrics. So that means has to be, meaningful, each one, not just flashy solo.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's why, to me, what I'm doing really is like George Harrison concept. Because, so in other words, George Harrison's influence to me is now making solo like a song. Yeah. So indirectly, see, I'm not copying him, but I'm copying his concept that he writes solo, even something like, middle of a section become very much minor, descending line, just like he always used. And then guitar so like it's bending 3 times he did the same thing. I mean, you could play many other things. Why he plays the same thing? Because important as a song, people remember. If you go more notes like this, nobody remember.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So even my teaching, sometimes I let students play, improvisation, and I listen. I always try to listen and repeat something. And I have to tell them that solo is not good. Why? Because I can remember. If you listen little bit, solo, you can remember. That's the essence of good solo. It's part of the music. Solo is really halfway composed to that song. And then little bit of inspiration on the spot, you improvise. Maybe that's to me acceptable, because people spend so much money going to studio. Why you improvise 100%? Right? Some jazz people they respect improvise 100%, but just I'm doing more like Beatles pop music way to create my own music right now. But so George Harrison, amazing composer, and Taxman. Again, that's Taxman is really based on to me, Junior Walker and the All Stars, Shotgun. And Shotgun, recorded 1965, and Taxman came out
66, yeah.
66, right? Makes sense? Yeah, right? Yeah, because for example, Day Tripper, dun, 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 that's really, dun, 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 dun. It's a blues. But then, blues, right? Blues, I shouldn't play 'em, but
Yeah, feel free to get your guitar and play.
so for example, right? That's blues, right? American blues.
Right, yeah.
So this is like a go-to phrase. If I improvise, I play that because people recognize. Then I become more friendly through music,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, sure.
Yeah. So Day Tripper. So the funny part is now, when I was 10 or 12, when I heard Day Tripper, I heard that's original music. So I go like, wow, amazing, right? Then I studied Larry Carlton, then start studying blues and R&B. And I came to America when I was 21 and playing this bass line. Then look back Day Tripper. Wow, that's clever. They just don't want to play regular blues. They just twist it. In other words, not 100% original. It's come from American music, but they don't want to copy it, so they changed it. So they changed the groove, a little straight feel, and then they changed the phrase. So the amazing with George Harrison to me, he just want to play blues, but they can't. He understood they can't play. He had to something original. Maybe George Martin says, "Don't play exactly. You have to change something." Then that's how they came up. Cool, right?
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Now, if you were in the Beatles and you can perform on one song, which song would you want to play the guitar on?
Little bit, I think. Yeah, but then I don't want to switch so much of his solo. Almost like that's to me that's sort of when I heard that, that's really stayed in my heart so many years, and still I can walk down the street, I can hear the whole song. I mean that's how much I listen to. Then that's like really good rock R&B phrase. See, I can sing it because that's da 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 da. And somebody said, "Oh, that's easy, major pentatonic." Okay, so like any key you go, like that's called pentatonic. But anybody can play. If I play that, that's not a song. It's just a scale. See, I use a little bit idea into my solo. See, again, I can play exactly the same because that's George Harrison. But I can do da 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 ah da 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 da. I can still rhythm. Do you know what I mean? Rhythm is now, copyrighted. Yeah. So that's what I do. See, that solo to me, it's just amazing that so basically, he studied blues, he studied R&B, that he mixed it, and then, see, interesting. George Harrison probably thought, I can play like Eric Clapton. He's amazing. But I can do it in the studio. I can come up with my solo, figuring out. That's what he did. So sometimes, this is, it's not a correct answer, but sometimes George had a good limitation. He cannot improvise like a jazz player. That's why he has to compose for the solo on the records, which is become hits. If he talented too much, then too good. Then you can memorize that. Yeah, so more and more limitation you have, I think you create a good original music.
Oh, that's a really interesting concept about limitation. I like
Right?
that.
Yeah, because most people see a lot of kids nowadays, internet, YouTube, anybody wanna know something, always Google or YouTube. They don't look for the answer themselves. They just look at the internet. They believe everything. So it means internet, it's too much information. You get the answer, but you can't go anywhere. You just get the answer already. So in other words, you don't have a dream. Your dream is dead because you have answer. Why I came to America? Because I didn't know what America like. That's why I came here, right? If I have a Google, I look up Google. Oh, Boston looks like this. Oh shit, winter is so cold. I don't want to go there. You know what I mean? I don't like snow. Yeah. Or like that. And then how much cost? Wow, too expensive. Almost like you Google the answer, then almost you decide, oh, that's not good for me. But how you do know if you don't go there? Something like that.
That's right. With the Beatles, I mean, they started out as like an R&B, rock, and pop cover group that wrote their own songs, but as they spent more time in the studio, they started to grow their imagination and they
Right,
were like, what else can we really do here? So I think that applies to
right.
them as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and the cool part is, right? Yeah, beginning more like R&B, right? R&B and more then become a little bit more rock and then a little bit more like not opera but just almost like a musical. Almost like not just music, something in it, you know. That's why I liked about they don't just follow all 4/4 like a time signature. Sometimes they add something in the middle, kind of a crazy stuff. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Like in the middle of the song, We Can Work It Out. It breaks into like a 3/4 waltz.
exactly. You know what? Yeah, we can work it out. That's 1965. Yeah, that's then ta 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 ta, like almost like changing time feel like that. Even myself, if I write a song like kind of dun 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 dun, the cuff dun 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 dun, I don't think like it's think like a different time zone like in like that. See, that's why because I feel dun, 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 oh, this is too much like American music. We have to do something a little bit. That's I think came out or everybody's idea. I don't know, just my imagination. But that's really clever. Yeah. So me and you think same thing because already I wrote here because I was gonna mention that part.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, I do homework, just in case because that's a long time ago I listened to, so I have to really refresh a little bit about.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, do you have a favorite Beatles song?
I think so many songs. Little Bit is always amazing to me because that's really when a man loves a woman.
Yes, that's a classic.
Okay, look up like when a man loves a woman. That's really amazing song, right? And then that song, like it's really simple, and but the key is that that's really famous song like that. So to me, Little Bit has that like kind of a see kind of similar,
Yeah, very similar.
right? So to me, again, that hit song from America and listening to that kind of similar because when one loves a woman, the little bit swings. So that's why Beatles did like that, more straight. So to me, it's really kind of same, but they, Beatles has always a nice bridge, building up. So it's really interesting, like early, like 1965, 66. I think very influenced by more R&B, but then go toward like 68 around 70. That's where I like to because more mixing rock and that's when George Harrison write more songs. And I think to me, more his voice is more hard, like among the band. I mean, if you put the band together, usually without saying, people understand. Oh, you're good at the writing. Oh, you're good at the lyrics. And you're good at the guitar. So then that's the part. Now really decided evenly you're gonna write the song. I'm gonna write the song. So interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I think George really blossomed as a songwriter in the later half of the Beatles.
I think so. I think so. Yeah, yeah. And then different influence, different world music, different instrument, sitar sound, all that stuff.
And Here Comes
Yeah,
the Sun
yeah,
features this weird time signature change, where I think it switches over to a more traditionally Indian time
yeah.
signature halfway through
Exactly.
the song.
That's definitely a great song by him. Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite memory that's associated with the Beatles?
Let me see. Not exactly. I don't know what exactly. But the funny part is now I think beginning that was great way to discover music because Beat was the first music really into listening without knowing anything. And I really thought they are music from America. I didn't know this, difference between England and America. Do you understand? So because look alike, So I thought, these people are all America. I didn't know the difference. Yeah. So that was the first, and later I can see how much Beatles influence because now I study jazz after that. Then Wes Montgomery, play a lot of Beatles songs. So I'm not sure exactly, but just it's always a great memory from that beginning. Yeah.
What do you think makes a song timeless?
That's a good question. I think all ingredient they did, four people technically, two guitar players, bass players, and a drummer, and they're not really technical, right? Not so technical, pretty good, really good. But then they into songwriting, and they mix everything right amount, and the band probably fight and discuss, laugh, cry together to make a song, really, deeply. That's why I think songs are so good. Influence from America, but then they really made their own idea. See, if they decide to copy more American music and they left it that way, then wasn't really timeless because they took old music, not changed too much. Then they stay old music. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Then or if they do too much new thing, this is a good one. If they put so many idea without any history, then wasn't timeless. Then sounds like 1965. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but they did a little bit good old music. Then they add a new idea and melt it. So you see, yeah, history is important, invention is important, but you can't just do everything so new. So it means if I do everything so digital, no band, that's what I'm doing. But funny part is I'm doing digital way, but then my music is very more soulful. So that's why I try to mix these.
Yeah. And who do you think is making timeless music at this moment in time?
I think John Mayer,
Oh, John Mayer.
yeah, he's very smart. He's very smart. So if you listen Continuum, still fresh to me. I mean, of course, his beginning, his beginning stuff definitely acoustic more pop because he's really pushing that. But after the Continuum, I think he really wants to write a really good song. Yeah. So so funny part is you ask that question. Eric Clapton too, timeless. Just because he loves blues, but then he doesn't play straight blues. He play blues, but he has a little pop to it. But not all current. He just mix everything his own way. But anyway, your interview really helped me discover something because good songwriter they don't really like to reveal how they got original music. Do you understand?
Right, yeah.
Just because that's really secret for business,
Right, yeah, yeah.
right? So I'm sure a lot of fans from John Mayer figuring out how he writes great songs. It's same to me, same way as Beatles a little bit. He can copy anybody. He can copy Hendrix. He can copy Eric Clapton. He can copy anybody. but he has to make his own music. So he cannot use everything. But to me, now I understand. Secretly, I believe he really studying Beatles.
Really?
I think so. But just my own guess, because if you study Beatles and really learn the structure of a song and the idea of a song, but not just copying chord progression or tempo, you know what I mean? Concept, because that's timeless.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually, because I feel like with
Yeah.
a lot of John Mayer songs, he uses the same chord progression or similar chord progressions, but he makes it sound so different each time. Like each song is so distinct.
Right. So like chord progression, right? Every song the Beatles chord progression, it's not complicated, but the reason is they just not repeat the same thing. They repeat twice. Then they have different section going to a little bit different mood, little bit twisted, just because they are away from original R&B American music. You see. So John Mayer the same way. Beginning, instead of he can shred a solo, but why he plays solo like a melody, one string? Because like Beatles.
Huh.
See, to me, that's George Harrison approach.
That's really interesting.
I mean, if he took like Jimi Hendrix approach, he can shred a solo, but then that's not song about. Song about the lyrics and mood. Song about you and people, not about.
Yeah.
Da 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 ba la song, right? No?
That's very clever.
So that's what I understand about John Mayer, how clever he is,
That's awesome. And I
right?
fully believe that John Mayer is a huge Beatles fan, and hopefully one day we can have him on the podcast and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to musicians who are trying to make music right now?
Okay, that's really a hard one. I would say, just like Beatles or I did or John did, respect good old music first. And anybody who you like, try to discover what music made that person. So in other words, if somebody like John Mayer, copy John Mayer a little bit good, maybe 6 months or so. But then you have to stop copying, but you have to understand where he got that each ingredient, like a songwriting, guitar solo, chord progression, whatever. You have to figure out why he get that. It's not so. In other words, nothing comes out naturally. Do you understand? Because me and you same. You have a parent, that's why you're here. I had a parent, why I'm here. Without them, I'm not here. For me, if I don't respect the parents, not good. You know? So same way, if you want to make your own music, you have to respect parents of music, which is little older music.
Like a music family tree.
Yeah, music family tree is very important. Yeah. Anybody who's success, they have a really good music family tree.
I like that theory.
You like that?
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, then if you make really fun music with a computer, you may success 2 years, and after 20 years, nobody know your name.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. See, your question is what makes timeless? Yeah, quick success is see internet thinks quick success. Somebody made a Twitter and make millions of money, then sell that with Twitter. That person's maybe millionaire, but I'm not sure that person really happy forever. It's not all about money. It's just almost like make effort, you make something change, then you feel good about yourself. but not about quantity of things or money. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes, because when you obtain that short-term goal, you're only happy for as long as you have it, and then when it disappears,
Exactly.
so does your happiness.
Yeah, almost like you want something, you want to have something expensive glasses or expensive jacket, and then you see on the internet somebody wearing, you are kind of a driving. Oh, I want to get that. I want to get that. But once you get that, you're done. For a moment, probably you get really, then when you wear the jacket and the sunglasses, already somebody wearing different jacket. You know? Yeah. So that's why I say don't compare because it crazy. Yeah. So if somebody see, I have so many guitars, why? Because I work so hard and I got those. But when I came to America, I had a one guitar, my one hand, one suitcase, one hand, and I have a lot of dream, but I didn't have anything else. Then I start with nothing, and I came up like that. So it's not instant success, not naturally success, because I work so hard every day. So gradually.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why you've been successful and why you're still successful. So, Tomo, what are you up to now? Are you involved in any projects?
So right now, like earlier I said, I found a really really great arranger, composer, guitar player from Japan. His name is Rockwell. He does a lot of pop music, yoasobi, or any like a cartoon, anime music he produced. And I found out that he is my fan for many years. So I hired him to make my music. So basically, I write a song, he arrange and make everything in tracks. Yeah. So basically, he make a karaoke for me. Then I play on top of it because I, after pandemic start, I want to play with a band, but after pandemic, I feel like everything going up, right? Oil is expensive, hotels are expensive, food is expensive. That means touring has become very expensive. And then if something comes, again, you have to cancel a lot because I heard a lot of people book gigs, have month later cancels because something happened. So that's why when I say, okay, I'm gonna change it a little bit, like almost I want to make me as a pop star, like a singer, you know, Billie Eilish almost, my dream. This means I have a computer already program music. I have an engineer. They press the button, play music, and I play with that. So that means I only travel 2, 3 people instead of a whole band and a whole crew. This way, economically works, right? I have all tracks. Then I can play solo guitar on the spot. But having a band is great. But if I have a band, then 3, 4 people travel with me. What if one person's sick? Then I have to cancel the gig, right? The computer maybe get the infection, but if I have backup disk and if I have basically I can travel with this. So that's my other dream. More like a reality. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it just and then of course I can a couple months ago I went to Nashville, and Nashville had a really great band called that, like so the session band, you know, yeah. Then they backed me up and we play gigs. So if I want to play gig, I can hire people, I can book gig, no problem. But just a new project I want to try is more like a pop singer, show up with my music already written. So you see, everything's short and more a lot of things happen in the song, and the solo is already halfway written, so that every show I play really good.
Yeah, just like the Beatles.
Exactly. Right? Beatles, exactly, they play parts. That's why their songs so short and nice.
Well, that's great. And where can people
Yeah.
find your music?
Probably best way iTunes or Spotify, YouTube too. But also you can visit tomojustfunky.com. That's my website. You can list that somewhere.
Cool. And I'll put all of the links in the podcast description so people can click on them as they're listening.
Yeah. I have Jack. I have a question though.
Sure, yeah.
How many songs the Beatles ever written altogether? Like,
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think they wrote over 200 original songs, but they only released like 190 or something.
really?
And then they gave away other songs, and then they did like 25 or 30 covers.
Oh,
So in
I
total,
see.
over 200 songs.
Right. I see. I see. 200. So then, what year is the first year they released the records?
They released their first single in October 1962, and that was Love Me Do.
Let me
And
do. I
then
see.
a couple months later, they released their first album, Please Please Me, in March of 1963.
Oh.
And then the last record they ever put out, I believe, was in April 1970, and that was Let It Be.
April 1970.
But yeah, they wrote songs like every day. They were always working on a song or an idea and bouncing it back on each other.
Really?
I mean, Paul McCartney could probably write a song in like 1 minute now with like
Right.
decades of practice.
Yeah. Good thing they didn't have internet.
Yeah, could you imagine that?
If they have internet, they're really hooked with a TikTok, and they lose their mind.
Yeah. Right.
See, young people, internet is great, but you have to really limit yourself when to use, what to use, because if you draw into TikTok and Instagram or YouTube like that, then that's like unrealistic world, because that's you can make the editing. It's not live. Everything made up. If you follow that too much, then people not good at it, like talking live like this or play live.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, that's really, yeah, I know, that's really fascinating. That also, commitment. You see, commitment is when they did that. Okay, think about this one, everybody. How are you gonna do all day to write a song without working? Normally, we have to work, right, to make a living. Do you know, beginning they had a job to do this, or they already hired by a record company?
Oh, at the beginning? Yeah, they didn't have, I mean, this was their life. They did gig after gig for, I think they got paid like £8 or something
Yeah,
really cheap like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So basically, just like yeah, people gigging and then get to pay. Then so like one more question: when they start playing together before the record deal?
So Paul McCartney first met John Lennon in 1957. They
57.
were only like 15 and 16 years old at the time.
Right.
And ever since then, they started hanging out and writing songs and playing together in like Paul's house and John's house.
Yeah.
And then in 1960,
Yeah.
they went over to Hamburg, Germany, where they started playing in clubs, and they started playing like 6 or 7 gigs every single day. And they slept in these really horrible conditions. Like they would sleep in broom closets and movie theaters, and they'd have like a Union Jack as blankets, but they played every day.
Right. Nice to hear that. Yeah. See, I need to hear that. Everyone needs to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next year they came back to Liverpool, and everyone was like, "Oh, wow, they're so good." But it was because of that hard work and practice that they put in Hamburg, Germany.
Right. Yeah. See, that's a really good piece of a story that they just did first, just play a lot, play a lot, 6 nights a week like that. So then what happened is more and more you play, you can feel something works and something don't work. And sometimes you play, probably beginning they are still copying, American music a little bit, right? No?
Yeah, they were doing like Little Richard covers and stuff like that.
Right? So when they play music, right, then what happens is 6 nights a week, that song that you love, you play, gradually you get again like, oh man, I want to change this song a little bit. Oh, then that's when comes the original music. Yeah, yeah. So that's perfect timing. So they did really 2 years really figuring out a little bit, and then put the band together, went to Germany, and then play a lot, 6 nights a week like that. Right? How long do you know did they play like that?
So they went back and forth between Liverpool and Hamburg for like a year or 2 years.
A year, right.
And then when they came back the final time, their future manager was in the audience at their concert at the Cavern Club. And after the show, he said, "I would like to sign you guys."
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Yeah, so like that, it's like, see, so like dedication really important. Really play, and then nowadays it's probably very difficult to do 6 nights a week somewhere in a club, right? But yeah, like that. Yeah, even like try the live show like that. Yeah, and so sometimes people don't understand. 1 year, even 6 months, if you do every day and really change. Yeah, so a lot of people don't know how consistent you need to be to success. Not just amount of hours on the weekend. You have to do every single day something. That's why they success because they keep writing song every day, no matter what, right? Pretty much.
And Paul McCartney's 80 years old now, and he's still writing songs every day.
Amazing. Yeah, John Mayer does the same thing. Every day he writing lyrics, yeah. He said sometime, right? It's very sometime he has a family dinner. He has to do this, a family dinner, and then he has to go like this. Wait. And he has to type. He's not watching TikTok or Instagram. He's just writing lyrics that he don't want to forget. He always writing lyrics like this, voice record or that.
Always working towards it.
Yeah, always working, right. Exactly. But I mean, I'm so happy the Beatles really succeeded like that. But didn't last forever. That's other things that four people working together and more each one become better and clever. And of course something won't, you work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
towards the end, they all had their different creative ideas and went their separate paths and had great solo
Yes.
careers.
Yeah. But Dead and Company, Grateful Dead, lasts like 30 years or
Oh,
more, right?
yeah,
Like that.
I know.
Just because their music is very loose, That's always I think like a difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But so many. We can talk days about songs. Yeah. So like back to the George Harrison made a riff. So Day Tripper, I use that in a solo, and I teach that because that's how you remember something good and use that in a solo as a conversational piece. Because if I play that, people recognize and people like that.
Right, yeah.
So if it's a minor song, always I go ta da 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 ta ta da 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 like that. Then people recognize. To me, Beatles music really influenced me about like a melody. Sort of has to have a melody, and chord progression. It's kind of same as other songs, but creatively adding something, but not creative from myself. A lot of songs really based on something.
Oh, absolutely. And I think even the solo
Yeah,
to John Mayer's song Waiting on the World to Change is just done with one string.
right. Well, yeah. The reason is this, because I teach everybody you have to learn scale one string, because if you do that, it takes more time to do it, because this way easy to do because of memorization. This one you have to hear it a little bit and then understand the theory, but also slow down because you take risk to jump a little bit. That's why it become melody, because you have to use it this note. Also, that solo it's influenced by Lenny,
Oh, really?
by Steve Ray Vaughan. Yeah, because if you listen Lenny, da 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 da, beginning sliding like the melody. That was to me original. Even Gravity to me, that's really Lenny, based on Lenny and more R&B. So in other words, every great music has a little bit of origin. Yeah, Hey Joe, Get Back, Let It Be, like that music is really like to me Motown R&B. Good classic, but you can't play like that. Yeah, for example, right, this is actually a good one. I teach sometime, like, for example, I always use this one. Look. All people, what is that? Oh, this I saw her standing there. That's how I learned. Guess what? That's 1963. That means back then, like that. This is blues, really. So then, what happened? See, if you play blues, that we call 12-bar blues. So that I learned from that song to my original song. Do not use 1-4-5 12-bar blues because already too much, you know. So then watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. They made quick changes, but their own. So then went to C. See, that's not regular blues.
Yeah, I love that chord change right there.
Yeah, so like that I saw her standing there is already, breakthrough compositional idea that they love blues R&B, but cannot use exactly. So they have to cook a little bit, but they didn't really made up that from nothing. Do you understand? They have parents' tree of music, respected, then they change it. That's why that song taught me. So now, since I met you this way, next semester at the Berklee, I decide to take off because it's 30th year.
Oh, wow.
And I already have a good project to do.
Really?
Yeah, I just want to sit down and listen to the Beatles.
Well, that sounds like a great project.
Because now different, because I listened those songs when I was a kid without any music knowledge or experience and not knowing American music or theory. And after that, some of the popular, song I played or I heard more so that I understand. But some of the, like a paperback written or something like that, different song that are not popular one. But then I want to listen to that again with my knowledge. Then I can dig in more, understand song structure, where the song come from, how they change, why they change. It's almost like I want to know structural idea of Beatles songs so that maybe rest of my life I can write a better songs.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna study. So you made my day change because otherwise, back in my mind, Beatles great, but their original song I can use original song, but now I understand. Wait a minute, song structure I can learn more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, their attention to song structure is incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds great. I'm really excited for you to do that.
Thank you.
Well, Tomo, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was an honor having you on and talking about the Beatles with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, that was great questions, and I really enjoyed. And this really taught me something. So this is really great. Thank you.